Hello guys! Welcome to our channel. Good morning Philippines! Good night America! Ngayon guys, nandito na naman kami ni TJ. Move here Ton. Dito naman kami ni TJ. Mag-read na naman kami ng book para sa inyo guys. Thank you nga pala sa nag-watch ng mga previous vlogs namin. Ito guys, ang title ng book na i-read namin ngayon is The Biggest Apple Ever. Take a look guys. How big is that apple? Okay. The Biggest Apple Ever. What's the title of
The biggest apple ever.
Okay, very good.
Biggest apple ever.
Where's the Once there were two mice who fell in love with the same apple pie. But you had to be there to see how it happened. Ay, muntik na mahulog. Ayan guys. On opening day at Mossville School, the principal, Mr. Moser, made an announcement. We will learning about apple this fall. And to get things started, we will have a contest. Whoever bring in the biggest apple to his teacher will win a special prize. Yun lang guys. Special prize. Okay, sit down, face like this. Okay, so that you can take a look at the book. The judging will take place on Friday. Good luck to everyone. I have an apple tree in my backyard, said Penelope. I bet it has really big apples. There's an apple tree across my house, said James. I'm going to climb it as soon as I get home. I don't have any apple trees, said Clayton, the house mouse, but I'm going to find Mrs. Mousley the biggest apple ever. No, you're not, said his friend Desmond, the field mouse. I am. Oh, yes, said Clayton. Yes, said Desmond. All the way home on the school bus, Clayton and Desmond talked about the contest. Maybe I could grow an apple tree with really big apples, said Clayton. It takes too long, said Desmond. I heard Mrs. Mosley say 6 years. I'll think of something, said Clayton. So will I, said Desmond. When Clayton got off the bus, he sneaked back into town to see what Penelope and James were up to. Penelope had come down from her tree. She was carrying two tiny apples. James was still up in the trees across the street. He was picking very small apples. Clayton knew had seen bigger ones at the market. When Desmond came by a little later, he realized the same things. The next day at school, Penelope and James brought in their tiny apples. No one else had brought in anything. Mrs. Mosley cleared her throat. Class, we have a lot of work to start this year. But because we are learning about apples and having an apple contest, we will go to the Barnabas orchard this afternoon. Everyone got very excited. I'm going to find the winning apple, said Clayton. I'm going to find the winning apple, said Desmond. At the orchard, Mrs. Mosley pointed out the different kinds of apples. Then everyone disappeared into the trees looking for a winner. Clayton walked down one row, craning his neck. Desmond walked down another row, craning his neck. Then Clayton saw what he thought was a really big apple. It was a little too high to reach, but he stretched for it. At the moment, Desmond saw the very same apple on the very same branch. He stretched for it too. They bumped heads and fell down. I think we should bring this apple in together, said Clayton. No one said we could not, we could not, said Desmond. But when they got back to the bus, James had an apple that was even bigger. The apple was so big he could hardly carry it. Clayton and Desmond looked at each other. What would they do now? That night at dinner, Clayton explained the problem to his dad. Said Dad. Apples don't come into many sizes. Do you think you'll find a bigger one? I don't know, said Clayton. Then maybe James will win the prize this time. It's okay if he does. Over at Desmond's house, Uncle Vernon said exactly the same thing. The next afternoon, they met at Barnaby's orchard. They picked two huge baskets of apples, but nothing they found was bigger than the apple James had picked. You know, Clayton said, I think Dad was right. This time, James gets to win. But we've got all these apples. Why don't we bake a big apple pie? Desmond laughed. Great, let's bake the biggest apple pie ever, and we'll make it for our class. Clayton nodded, and I think I knew where we'll find a pie pan that's big enough.
Big enough.
The following afternoon, Desmond arrived at Clayton's house with Uncle Vernon. Everything's packed up and ready, Clayton said. It's all in Dad's truck. But where are we going? Desmond asked. You'll find out in a minute, said Clayton.
What are you making, Mom?
I'm gonna make apple pie, I think. Dad drove with Clayton and Desmond beside him in the front seat. Uncle Vernon stayed in the back with the apples and other ingredients for the giant pie. As they came around a corner, Desmond gasped, Tony's Pizza! Of course, said Clayton. What could be better than a giant pizza pan? Mr. Tony greeted them at the door. Welcome, welcome. We are ready to begin. And so they got to work, making the dough for the crush, kneading it, rolling out half into a big circle, and spreading it over the deep dish pan. Then everyone peeled and sliced the apples, mixed together the sugar and spices, and spread the rest of the dough on top. Wow, said Clayton and Desmond when they were finished. Wow, wow, wow. An hour, said Mr. Tony. Give me an hour. The giant pan just fit into his huge oven. The next day was Friday. Who would have the largest pie? James, of course, and Mr. Moser handed him the prize. A cheddar cheese apple. Mrs. Mosley looked surprised. Clayton, Desmond, nothing from you. The two of them grinned. At the same moment, the classroom door flew open. In came Clayton's dad, Uncle Vernon, and Mr. Tony, struggling to carry the giant pie by themselves. How wonderful, said Mrs. Mosley. That's the biggest apple pie ever. We make it for the whole class, said Clayton. All of us together, said Desmond. They shared a high five, and everyone in the class had a very big slice.
Done.
Once there were two mice who fell in love with the same apple pie, but you had to be there to see how it happened. That's why I show you guys how it's happened. So, what's the title of the book, Tom?
The biggest apple ever.
Who's the character in the story?
The mouse and the other mouse.
Okay. You know the name of the mouse? Clayton and Desmond. You know what's the name of their teacher? Mrs. Moose Mosley. Okay. You know the name of the uncle? One of the Uncle Vernon. Okay. So, yun lang guys. Thank you for watching and take care always guys. Sa mga may kids dyan, lalo na yung younger, yung mga 1 to 5 years old, pwede nyo basahan everyday yung kids nyo guys before going to bed. It's a nice routine. Katulad sa ginagawa namin ni Tom, ni TJ, ni Anakis. Kasi marami akong tawag sa kanya guys. Yun, maganda siyang routine every night before going to bed. Nabasahan nyo yung mga kids nyo ng books. And it's fun, guys. And it's they learning too. And then sa storybook, you can ask some questions related in the books that you read. And nakagawin na namin ito, guys, every night. So, sana nagustuhan yung video namin, guys. And thank you for watching us sa mga previous vlogs namin. And ingat po tayo lagi. Then, shoutout sa aking mother, sa aking great grandma, and then sa mga titos and titas ni TJ, sa mga uwos and uwas ni TJ, alam niyo kung sino kayo, at sa mga pamangkin ko, guys. And sa aking kapatid, uh, take care always. And sa aking sister-in-law, take care always. And sa aking pamangkin na makulit, si Mikami. And sa aming doggy, guys, na si Jaguar. Jaguar, watch our house there. And I gonna bring you a pasalubong when we come back in the Philippines, okay? So yun lang, guys. Thank you for watching talaga. Maraming salamat sa inyo. Bye, guys!